Today's December 7th, 2020. City of Peru Common Council meeting called to order by Zoom. I'll do the Pledge of Allegiance if the people will stand. Repeat with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing. Heavenly Father, we ask for peace and prosperity for everyone, not only within our city, our county, but our state and the United States and all over the world. The COVID has been a pandemic now since March. We ask for your care in healing the sick and helping us get through this. Bless everyone here tonight at this meeting. Bless this meeting, and please answer the prayers, and let's not forget the reason for the season. In heaven's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, roll call.
Anderson, absent. Guston,
Here.
Clotho,
Here.
Ramsey, not here. Russell,
Here.
Sahai Dashini, not here.
He was
I
there.
thought he
Yeah,
said
he's
join.
there. He's got my muted.
Yes. Unmute yourself.
Pete,
Okay. Can you hear me now?
okay,
All
yeah.
right, there you are.
Okay, I'm in. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right, thanks. And we'll, here.
I can only see your eyes, buddy.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I can see your whole face. Maybe I don't have enough light. I am here. This is me. It's not a robot, Tom.
We got you.
Okay.
Okay, we're up for reading and correcting journal amendments of the regular meeting on November 2nd.
I have a couple corrections. The first one is under reading and correction of the minutes. I think it needs to be added, my request at the last meeting to have the minutes corrected, and that request was declined. I also think under ordinance 19, 2020, that we should also correct Mr. Spar's name. It's spelled S-P-A-H-R, and it's Anthony Spar. And we also need to make a reference in there that Dustin Kearns was representing the Martins at one time.
SP what?
S-P-A-H-R.
S-P-A-H-R.
Okay. I'll try to help you.
Pete, go ahead and
Pete,
mute,
stop.
hit the mute button, please.
Okay, hit the mute button. Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to help Mark get in.
Okay. Can you repeat some of that?
Yeah,
Betsy,
that was-
the last-
Betsy, yeah, repeat that, please.
Oh, the first correction I had was under reading and corrections of the minutes. I thought that there needed to be a sentence referring to how I asked for the minutes to be corrected at the last meeting, and that request was declined. And then also underneath ordinance number 19, I asked that Anthony Spar's spelling of his name be corrected, and that it also be mentioned that Dustin Kearns had represented the Martins in that case.
I agree with those needed corrections.
I see where that is, yeah.
What? I'm typing. I can't hear.
Can we do
Kathleen said she agreed with it. Does she need to make a motion, or? And
Yeah, I
Mr.
second
Guston said she
that.
did as well.
You need a motion, I second it. If it's Dustin, do we need a motion on that to correct it?
It would require a motion in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had a
He
motion.
represented who?
He represented the Martins in that
Martins?
case. Yes. I'll make the motion. Somebody wants to second it?
A
It's
second,
already, you already
Yep.
did it, she already did.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, somebody who
We
mentioned,
need a roll call, or can we do this local vote?
Since we're on Zoom, we probably should do a roll call.
yeah.
okay, let's see, okay, Anderson's not here. Guston,
Get
Yes.
Guston?
Yes.
He said yes.
Oh. Clotho,
Yes.
Ramsey, not here.
Mark was telling me, he just called, he's trying to get in, he's having trouble.
Okay, Russell,
Yes.
Pete. Sahadachini. What did he say?
You.
Okay, I didn't hear my last name.
Sahadachini.
That's what I was ready for, okay, yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Okay, with those corrections, I move we suspend the rules and dispense with reading of the minutes.
I'll
Second.
second that one.
Roll call, please.
Pete Sahadachini, second, hang on. No, Anderson. Guston,
Yes.
Clotho,
Yes.
Ramsey, not here. Russell,
Yeah.
Sahadachini,
Yes, ma'am.
Wolf.
Yes.
Okay. Before we go on, I had asked about the different ordinances that we're going to be voting on, that we have to sign, the resolutions, I mean, and Dustin says we do not have to sign those. Do we have somebody that's going to sign them for us as a proxy?
Betsy's there. Can she do that for us?
Dustin, the only thing that the council has to sign tonight is the rate tracker for the utilities.
Right, which the mayor and I spoke prior to the meeting about this, and that's one of those things that I'm cautious to not have all signatures on, just because it does deal with the utility rate. If there's a way where it could just be dropped off, or each individual print off and sign their own copy and just drop it off, and we could put it all together as one. I don't think everyone needs to sign on the exact same page, as long as everyone signs on the signature line for them by their respective names. It's one of those things that anytime you deal with utility rates or anything with taxpayers' money, I think it's most appropriate not to use proxies and actually have it fully executed.
Dustin,
Yeah,
does it matter? I mean, this is all on record that it's passed this evening. Does it matter? Is there some urgency that needs to actually be signed physically soon?
Right, and I guess that's the next step. But Josh, when would the rate tracker actually take effect?
January 1st?
So, I mean, as long as we have all the signatures put together before it actually goes into effect, I think we'd be just fine on that.
And we're fine with it as well. So we gotta try to be as safe as we can.
So, because the state has granted leeway in regards to open doors and signing bills at the same time, and signing at the same time under the executive orders from the governor, so it doesn't all, with the remote meetings, everything doesn't have to be signed that evening, so.
well, not only that, but if it would be all right with the council, I could come around to each and every one with the paper to get their signature all on one paper, that wouldn't be a problem.
Drop it off in the mailbox and come back and pick it up later if they don't have a printer or anything, so.
Tom brought me,
There's no-
Tom printed off a copy for me. I can put it, Miles, Mayor, I'd be happy to put it, a signed copy in the mailbox or something, or whatever you'd like me to do. So thankfully, Tom printed something off, so I can just go ahead and sign that.
Okay,
Will that be okay with you, Miles?
yes, that'd be fine.
Thank you.
I've got a copy. Understand.
Have it brought in.
Mayor, if it's passed tonight, I would go ahead and try to get, Betsy's while she's there, since she's physically there, so.
I won't let her go.
Okay. No problem.
Cool. All right, with that settled, let's move on.
Okay, you're up for council liaison communications.
Have something?
Go ahead.
Okay, we had our first Civic Center Advisory Committee meeting on November 18th at 7. And we met at City Hall maintaining COVID-19 guidelines. Roll call in person was Miles Hewitt, Betsy Smith, Peter Sayadachny, Brent Wedding, and myself as chair. And then Kevin Arwood, Vincent Edmonds, and Austina Reed attended virtually. This is our committee.
That's a great committee.
Thank you. Brent Wedding kindly agreed to take the notes. On the agenda was deciding what the duties and responsibilities and salary of an event coordinator. 2, the rules for the Civic Center and the cost of running the Civic Center. We split up the different items and we report our findings to each other on December 19th. At our next meeting, we are meeting at the Civic Center to tour the grounds, assess what is there, and assess what improvements need to be made.
Do you guys have, I know Susan said you guys she had an inventory list.
I don't have the inventory list yet.
That was on the 19th, that's a Saturday morning?
Yes, at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Okay, people can make it on a Saturday morning.
Yes,
Okay.
I'll agree to it.
All right, that's okay.
Also, the aviation board meeting was on November 10th. I was unable to attend because of personal reasons. Mr. McIver informed me the next meeting on December 8th will be virtual and the open house has been postponed.
Pat, to back up for a minute, to the Civic Center,
Yes,
I received an email from Kent and Julie Werlin. Years ago, they had the curvateria down where the Main Street Laundry is at Benton and Main.
I remember that.
And they have some ideas and everything that would like to be included in on the Civic Center too. So
Good.
I will forward all that information on to you also.
Okay, Kevin sent me a tentative list for the Civic Center coordinator's responsibilities and duties that I'll have copies for everybody
Okay.
at the meeting. And then when we get all of it together, we'll present it, everything as a whole.
Okay, do you want me to give them your contact information so they can email you?
Yes,
Okay.
Pat, thanks for doing all this.
no problem.
You're rounding up some good people, Pat. It's cool.
We're trying. We want to try and make the Civic Center a success and still maintain the historic preservation of it.
I think we're on the right track.
Keep people that are still wanting to use it. I've got a phone call coming from Jamie Arthur about the different clubs and organizations that uses it. And she's supposed to get back with me about who they are.
Now, is she planning to be at that meeting on the 19th?
I imagine she's gonna let us in, but other than that, I don't think she's gonna be participating.
Okay. All right, do we have any other liaison information to pass on from anyone else?
There wasn't any zoning or planning commission meeting in November.
Okay. Okay, I guess that's it.
Okay, next item on the list, you're up for unfinished business. City of Peru Common Council Ordinance 18-2020, which is an ordinance to amend the City of Peru Code of Ordinances 151.066. F.
And we've already considered, I move we adopt ordinance 18-2020.
I will second that. This is Pat.
Open for discussion.
Who seconded? I can't hear.
Pat.
Pat.
Pat did.
I don't have anything to say about it, unless anybody else does.
Is Bill Gornto on? Is he on the Zoom meeting? It's his and he's bringing it forward, right?
Isn't here.
He's not here, okay. Do you know, is it just being brought forward because it needs changes in it, or because they're moving it to a different place, or
Well,
what?
it's my understanding that the city was, let's see, Planning Commission given favorable recommendation because the private swimming pools above ground may be authorized in residential, that the state evidently has more of the say-so than what the city ordinance does. And that's why they're wanting to just turn it over to where the state code is
Okay,
instead of the city code, because the state has more of the setbacks and more of the authorization on what the actual code for swimming pools are.
okay,
I'm understanding they're just moving it from the building part of the ordinance out of the zoning.
Right.
Good. Do we have any other discussion on this? Roll call.
Okay.
Well, don't we adopt,
I already moved we adopt and it's been seconded.
I'm sorry.
Guston,
Okay. Yes.
Potho,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes,
Sayadachny,
Yes.
and Wolf.
yes.
Okay.
All right. No more unfinished business. Next is new business, Resolution 13-2020. Resolution establishing a rate tracking factor for the municipal electric utility of the state for the Peru City, Indiana. Josh, you still on? Yeah, there you are.
I am. Do we have any questions about this? Obviously, it's an increase, which you don't want to see, but if we remember back, I mean, some of you may, every year about this time, the cost of our wholesale power goes up because of the summer, since we're kind of a quarter behind. And over the last 3 quarters, we've had over an 8% decrease. So this doesn't even get near, the increase does not equate to that 8% decrease at all. So we're still, if you look back at our rates, our wholesale rates, our energy costs, they're still almost 4% less than they were in 2016 alone. So we're talking almost 5 years later. So, and I hate to say this, but look for this trend to increase. COVID's really taken a big bite out of the electric sector. Supplies are hard to come by. It's going to cost more to generate. It's just plain and simple. So we might I think we'll get lucky, maybe have 1 decrease next year, but I think we're going to see a steady increase to our wholesale rates, unfortunately, on the electric side.
Josh, is that an increase of every 3 months? Are we talking about an increase every 3 months?
Well, I mean, it's a quarterly tracker, so it's a quarterly increase or decrease. And like I said, the last 3 quarters have been a decrease, 8%. So $8 since from January, it's like an $8 less that our customers paying $8 less overall per 1,000 kilowatts. So,
These
I just want to.
they look real small. I mean, the increases themselves.
Well, it's 0.2 of 1 cent. So, but when you're using 1,000 kilowatts, 0.2 of 1 cent does add up to about $2. So, yeah. But this is just kind of the way it is. It's just up and down depending on the market, depending on how hot it is or how cold it is, and energy costs fluctuate. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, the new mandates coming down probably from our federal government are going to hurt the cost of energy significantly if they do what they're planning on doing. So I'm just trying to prepare you for the next couple quarters, and hopefully it won't be as bad as they're alluding to.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions?
So what would the increase this time translate to for an average person's bill?
$2.82 per 1,000 kilowatts. So we typically, around the 750 to 1,000 is what our normal customers use.
Okay, so
Unless you have
like
kids,
$1 to
and it's a million
$2.
kilowatts because they don't turn anything off.
Gotcha. Yeah. Turn those lights off. Any questions? I move we consider Resolution 13, 2020.
Second.
Roll call.
Was that Flozo? When you second it, since you're remote, would you please state your name and say I second, so I know who is talking?
Okay, yeah, both those seconds.
Okay, thank you. Guston? Guston? Flozo?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Sahadachini?
Yes.
Wolf?
Yes.
Are you calling Mark's name? I think he's in now, isn't he?
I'm in now.
Oh, there he is, yeah, okay.
Oh, sorry, okay. Were you in for that, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, and how do you vote? Yes?
Okay.
Thank you, guys. You guys have a good holiday.
Now, wait a minute.
Thanks,
I
Josh.
move we adopt Resolution 13, 2020.
I second that.
Don't run away yet, Josh, there might be some answers or questions here on,
I have a question for Josh before he leaves.
Sure, I'm not going to leave. I'm going to hang out. I just was going to mute me.
Okay.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 13.
Who moved and who seconded to adopt?
This resolution.
Who seconded?
Hey,
I seconded it, yeah.
Pizza Dutch.
Pete.
Yeah.
Okay, Guston?
Yes.
Plotho?
yes.
Ramsey?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Sahadachini?
Yes.
Wolf?
Yes.
Okay, don't forget to sign that sheet. I'm gonna put mine in my mailbox.
Oh, did we take it into the city hall?
Yes, you can.
No, Miles said he would pick them up.
I will come around to your homes and pick them up sometime tomorrow, if you
Are you
want to
serious,
put
you will? Just stick it in the mailbox, you mean, or if we're not home, or?
Well, that or give me a call and let me know you're leaving, I'll head right there.
No, I should be home, boss. Okay.
Okay. All right. Next on the agenda, Resolution 14, 2020. Resolution of the Common Council, City of Peru, Indiana, approving the request of Snavely Machine and Manufacturing for tax abatement. Brooke? I believe that's your cue.
Motion to consider. Motion to consider.
Tom, did you want me to explain?
Well,
Yes.
need a motion to consider.
I'll make the motion to consider it.
Okay, I move we consider Resolution 14, 2020. Second. Been moved and seconded, roll call please. That second was Mark Ramsey.
Okay, Anderson, Justin,
Yes.
Bobo,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Sahadashny,
Yes?
Wolf.
Yes.
Okay, Brooke.
Okay,
This is really a great thing. Thank you. Go ahead, do that.
no problem. This, we had a request from Snavely Machine from Jason Amonette and, Joe Kenny. They are investing $1.7 million in new equipment. Part of this equipment is to replace equipment in an existing line they currently have and to add equipment that will employ 6 new employees, but it will keep them at about 174 to about 190 employees. And that's pretty good after COVID hit. So we're happy they're back up in at full capacity. But like I said, it's a $1.7 million investment. We met with the incentive committee and discussed an abatement, and we discussed a 7-year tax abatement at 70% each year for the 7 years. This would give Snavely a savings over the 7 years of $178,500. So we would ask that you would favorably, approve that abatement for Snavely Machine of 7 years at 70%.
And just to add to that, what Brooke told us in the meeting was, the thing that impressed me is that Snavely has increased their wages, correct?
Yes, they have. Just so you know, on the SB1, you all should have had a copy of that. They have reported that their salaries, their average hourly wage is now up to $17.43. I do know their new hire wages are now up to anywhere from $13 to $15, which for Snavely is a big improvement. We're very happy to hear that. Just like every other company, they're having some issues finding employees, but the increased wages has helped. So, but yes, they are up to an average of $17.43. So we are happy to see that as well.
Brooke, on that
Get to
SB,
that meeting and find out just exactly what's going on with Snavely, and they've improved, grown immensely. This is tremendous. Brooke,
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, in 2009, I think it was, they were down to about 30 to 40 employees, and because of the recession, and they were over 200 last summer, or a year ago, sorry. And then they did do some layoffs during COVID, just because they run with Chrysler, a lot of lines with Chrysler, but everyone was called back. Everyone's back that wanted to come back to work, and they would hire some more if they could find them. So
Are they running 3 shifts, Brooke? Are they running?
they run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They only close Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Brooke,
Sounds like a pretty good deal over there,
I'll say.
struggle is
Do you have
real.
any
Betsy.
other questions that you'd like to ask Brooke?
Betsy has a question.
Brooke, on the SB1 form, the date that Jason Amonette signed it is listed as 12/18 of 1984.
I believe that's his birthday. He will be getting me.
Okay, because I know it has the average salaries and the number retained on there, and I just thought should probably have the current date to match that.
Yes, we will get a current date.
Okay.
That as well.
Brooke, I have one question.
Okay.
Is there anything to where if they do not maintain the 174 employees, that the tax abatement goes away, or how does that work?
Yes, every year we review their paperwork. They have compliance paperwork they have to submit every year by May 15th. Anyone that has a tax abatement has to submit compliance paperwork. And myself and the incentive committee, the city council incentive committee, meets and reviews all of that paperwork. If we find that they are not in compliance with what they said they would be, then we will follow up with them, find out what's going on. And we can not give them the abatement for that year. It doesn't cancel it for the next year, but just for that current year. So if they're in the second year of their abatement and they're down to 25 employees, we can stop the abatement for that year, but the next year, if they're back up to their 174, then yes, they can have the abatement again. So yes, we review everything every year.
All right.
Brooke, we'll get a copy of that, won't we?
Yes,
I think we do each year, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that's when we meet with the county people, correct? And that's what we did, Tom and I? Okay.
We normally meet in the vault.
Right, okay.
Courthouse.
Okay. I move we adopt.
I second that. That's an easy call. That sounds like a
I
good.
move we adopt resolution 14, 2020.
I second it, Tom. Sounds like a good deal they got going.
That's it. Okay. Roll call, please.
Gaston,
Yes.
Clotho,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Sahadashini,
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke. I love that Makita does that. Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, City of Peru Common Council, Resolution 15, 2020. It's a resolution authorizing the sale of real estate to the Miami County Board of Commissioners.
I move we consider resolution 15, 2020. Second.
Who?
Mark Ramsey.
Mark Ramsey.
Question.
Can you help me understand that a little bit better? I
Roll
read
call.
through Dustin or Miles.
I'd be glad to walk everyone through this and explain what this is.
Should we wait just a second? I think we need to do the roll call on the considering
Oh,
first,
wait a
right?
second.
And then we
Wait
can
a
talk,
minute, wait a minute.
right?
We
That's
need,
right.
we need to get a roll call
Yeah,
on the consideration.
I apologize. I jumped the gun.
Gaston,
Yes.
Ramsey, Ramsey,
Are you there, Mark?
Here.
Mark, are you
Yes.
here?
Ramsey, yes.
okay. Russell,
Yes.
Sahadashini,
Yes.
Clotho,
Yes.
and Wolf.
Yes.
Okay, now, Dustin, go ahead and, explain this. It has
Can you
to,
hear me?
yes.
So, the Wayne Street Bridge, the county has employed an engineering firm through NDOT. Based on NDOT grants, they are replacing the top part, all the steel structure of the Wayne Street Bridge. And in doing so, they're going to have to change the elevations and the approaches to the driveways down at the utilities and the sidewalks. So the property, the old power plant that used to sit on the green space, it was parcels, along with one of the other entrances to the utilities. Now, they do not intend on actually inside the fence, and in the actual easement itself, I'll backtrack just a little bit. This is not actually for the actual sale of land. It's for the sale of the use of land as in a temporary easement. I know it doesn't quite make sense, but that it's still what it's called because we're selling that right to use. We followed up with a written easement, which I have reviewed. I went over with Josh at the utilities and Mike Walsh, project engineer with the utilities. And they are comfortable with the language in the easement, and that has been approved by the engineers, by their engineers, and also the county's attorney, Steve Downs. Pretty much, they just need access, like I said, up to the fences, up to the gates. The easement specifically state that they shall not enter any fenced-in area. They shall not damage, manipulate, move, alter any fencing. Maybe they might take out the sidewalk there, redo that. I'm not 100% sure about the sidewalks. I know there's only going to be one sidewalk on the bridge now with the new project, the new proposed plans.
And they just need to work on getting this all set up to go as soon as possible. That way they do not lose the NDOT funding. They're planning on letting bids out in the spring. That way, I'm assuming fall construction, summer construction at some point. And again, this isn't for the actual sale of property, but it's the old power plant parcel is the one in question here. The utilities board had already signed a resolution allowing access to the parcel that was the old pump house. So if you drove down by there, you'll see two different gates, two different fenced-in areas. The utilities owns the one closest to the river. For some reason, I don't know why it's like this. The city still owns that land with the power plant. And one of the main reasons the utilities does not want them to have any access inside of there is because if they did, they would have direct access to the city's drinking water.
Okay.
And looking at those pictures, that bridge is an eyesore anyway, the way it sets. And it looks like that intersection over on Riverside Drive is going to be improved greatly. That looks really good. My concern was on the north side of the bridge, and you explained that very well. Thank you, Dustin.
Dustin, do they have a timeline for completion on that project, or?
Well, depend on when you ask them. I know the one gentleman we were speaking with, his name's Alex Francis. He indicated they'd hoped to be done by spring, and then within 24 hours, he told us they weren't sending the bids out till spring. So, realistically, I don't know how long a bridge repair is going. It's not a repair; it's a replacement. The only thing he indicated that they do not intend on replacing are the pylons and the pillars. But who knows? They might be damaged during the time of construction somehow, and they may have to. It's just all the steel structure, all the concrete on top's being replaced. I'm not sure exactly how it will pan out and look, but it's going to be an improvement.
Yeah. Okay.
They are widening the access, and they're going to try to widen the bridge itself. And like I said, they're going to cut pedestrian access to one side of the bridge.
Okay.
And Josh, do you know which side that was? I can't recall.
No, I don't remember which side it was.
Do we have any other questions? If not, I move we adopt Resolution 15, 2020.
Second.
Mark Ramsey seconds it. Roll call.
Dustin,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Clotho,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Sahadashini.
Yes.
Okay, next order of business, City of Peru Common Council Resolution 16, 2020. It's a resolution for appropriation from the Non-Reverting Care Act Fund to the General Fund of the City of Peru.
This has already been considered. I move we adopt Resolution 16, 2020.
No, this has not been considered.
This one hadn't been considered, Tom.
Yeah.
This
I
is
thought it
new.
was in the minutes.
No, that was ordinance creating the non-reverting fund.
Oh, I see. Okay, so this has to be considered first. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
My apologies. I got them confused. I move we consider Resolution 16, 2020. Mark?
Second.
Dustin,
Yes.
Clotho,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Sahadashini,
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
Okay, now questions.
Is this part of what Chief Hawk is going after for the fire department?
No.
It'll involve that slightly. I mean, the reimbursement, and I'll let Susan touch or follow up. The CARES Act required us to set up its own individual fund, being the non-reverting fund we set up at the last city council meeting.
Right.
And then the state board of accounts came in and subsequently said, oh, by the way, you need a resolution now to be able to transfer funds out of that non-reverting CARES Act fund back into the general fund. They indicated it does not need to be by ordinance, which generally an appropriation needs to be by ordinance. However, given the nature of the CARES Act and the reimbursements, resolution is sufficient.
So when money is, like, if Chief Hawk does, is that, and I still on the same thing, if Chief Hawk gets money from the CARES Act, it comes out of this, correct?
It goes, if Chief Hawk gets money reimbursed, we'll use the Fastenal building, for example. The city will front those costs, send the request to, I'm not even sure who's handling, as far as municipalities concerned, the processing for those reimbursements.
IFA.
Any reimbursed will then be deposited into the non-reverting CARES Act fund, which is the ordinance fund we set up last month. This is just to give us the authority to go from that fund back to the general fund.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And how much did we get, or how much do we have?
We're allotted 353,000, I think is what, roughly.
Okay.
We've gotten back, I think a little over 10. I submitted about 17,000 more today request, and then we're waiting on the closing so I can submit that.
Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, we still got a few left.
I didn't catch all that, but
Oh, I
didn't.
had
How
asked,
much money you have to spend?
yeah, that's what I had asked Susan, how much we had, and she said approximately 353,000, and that they had already been reimbursed for 10 of it, and then she's got it submitted for another 17,000, and then she's gonna submit the closing costs for the Fastenal building and all that, so.
Okay, all right, thank you.
10 and 17, okay. Got it.
And then Fastenal Building's 100. Chief Hawk, what's the Fastenal Building again, please?
$178,958 and some odd cents.
Titles,
Just wrote it today.
title fees, it came out to just over 179,000.
Okay, that's great.
I'm just under 179,000, Dustin, but that's okay.
Thanks, Dustin. I can't even understand what Susan's saying, so.
Susan said that it actually was a little bit under 179, which is
Okay,
better.
All right.
thank you, Betsy.
Okay. Do we have any other questions about this? None? I move we adopt resolution 16, 2020.
Second?
Pete?
Is that you, Pete?
Yeah.
Sound like Pete. Okay,
Roll
Dustin?
call.
Dustin?
Yes.
Clotho?
Yes,
Ramsey?
Yes.
Hydachini?
Yes?
Russell?
Yes,
And Wolf?
Yes.
A big thank you to Betsy for being there representing all of us.
yeah,
Thank you, Betsy.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Chris.
Next order of business, communication. Chief Hawk, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Chief Sofianis?
No.
I have a question for Josh, and I don't know if this is gonna step on Debbie.
Check's still on.
Josh, what's the status of how people have been affected by unemployment and whatnot for COVID? For electricity cutoffs and that kind of thing?
Kathleen, I'm not seeing Josh on here anymore.
Okay, Debbie, are you there?
I didn't see him on there.
Debbie's there, she'll be here in just a second. Debbie, you're still muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There she is.
Yeah.
What do you know, what do you know about the electricity, and can you update us a little bit on homeless and whatnot?
At
Please.
one point, I knew there was around over 1,200 people on the moratorium, from Peru Utilities. I don't know how many of those actually, have been, had their electricity turned off. I just did a figure, and we have helped 477 people so far. So, that's just United Way. I know that the Salvation Army and Helping Hands have helped with Peru Utility customers also. I do know that those numbers are higher. I got 3 calls today, and I'm out of funds, and I had to turn them away. And I had to have them call other providers. So the number's high, and I was hoping Josh was on here so I could talk to him about that. So I wish that he could come back on.
I'll just send him a message. I'm not sure if how soon he'll get that, but he said he can dial back in.
Hey, is it possible at all to use some of that care money for United Way to help our people, some of our city people? Miles?
I'm not sure what your question is, Kathleen.
Okay, so some of this, could we use some of the care money
No,
to give to United Way to help out some of our citizens because of COVID? And
no,
employment to get to, so they have power in their homes, water in their homes?
no,
I don't believe it can.
you're not allowed to.
I don't know, I talked to I'm pretty sure we can.
There's a difference between the CARES Act fund and the CARES Act grant. We're getting CARES Act fund reimbursement, and we cannot.
If it's on reimbursement, it has to be used.
Back to the people that it
Back-
came from
right.
to reimburse them for their cost.
Reimbursing.
And you're right. There is a difference between that. You're
Okay.
right, Susan.
And my understanding is that they can't be used interchangeably. Now, if we had if the city had a qualifying expense that's subject to reimbursement or has the possibility of being reimbursement, if that somehow benefits our citizens, then I can see something like that working.
We got a junior city council member.
Watch it, Kathleen. Okay. Well, do we have any other,
Josh was getting back on.
what?
He indicated he would. Josh indicated to me that he'd get back on real quick.
Okay.
So I'll say something. Miles and I talked today. We had a very frank and open discussion. He and I are letting some of the mishaps between the two of us go because we're adults and we're going to disagree, and we're just holding, he and I, and disagreements can hold the city back. So I just wanted to update the council that Miles and I are making every effort, as well as communicating with and amongst the city council better, to just move on. Right, Miles?
That's correct.
Yeah. So Miles has my support. We're not going to agree all the time, and we shouldn't. But I look forward to having a fresh year. So thank you.
Is Josh back yet?
Yes. Josh, are you on there now? I see your name.
I am. I'm sorry. I got up too early there.
Okay.
Well, Debbie has some questions for you.
Hey, Josh. I just want to thank you and all the ladies there at Peru Utilities working with me with our COVID grant that we've got. They have graciously been able to let me pay on some of your customers with our COVID grant. So I know in the past we had talked that you'd had over 1,200 customers after the moratorium that possibly could lose their utilities. Do you know if that was a possibility? Was that exactly how many customers that were losing their utilities this year? Having it turned off?
As far as being pretty far behind?
Being so far behind, and do we know how many actually had their utilities turned off?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't answer that question. 1,200 sounds about right as far as people that were significantly behind through the COVID. But as far as how many we've actually turned off that haven't gone through with the payment plans, I can't answer that question off the top of my head. I can get you that answer tomorrow if you wish.
That would be great because I'm applying for another grant. And those statistics and data works really well when you're applying for a grant and you can give those kind of figures. You weren't on, but I just let you know, we've helped 477 of your clients one way or the other, trying to make sure that they stay with their utilities turned on. So we're really excited that we had some money to be able to help. And then, and that's not including some of the, with Helping Hands and Salvation Army, trying to make sure that citizens in Miami County have their lights and water available so they can survive and have their families in a safe living environment. So just, thank you, kudos for your girls that work in there and in the office. They're always sending me that information. They're letting the clients know that what the resources are in Miami County.
And thank you for that. We appreciate what you've done for all of our, we call them customers and clients, but to be honest with you, they're pretty much the owners, right? We appreciate everything you've done, and you have no idea how appreciative those customers are. Our local people are. It is amazing how happy and how excited they get when we can say, hey, through these organizations, they're out here helping you, so you do an amazing job, and without you, there would be quite a few people that we couldn't help, quite frankly, at the utilities. So.
Yeah, well, I just know that you guys, you give them a second chance, third, 3 and 4 chances, and when they get down to that point and they need extra help, I'm just glad that we're here to help. And as of right now, we're out of funds, so that's why I'm getting ready to write another grant. So any information that you can give me to help with that, I greatly appreciate it.
We absolutely will. I'll get on that first thing in the morning. Actually, it's Leah and Joyce, and the ladies up front. And it's not me. They are wonderful people, and all they do is care about our customers. So yeah, I'll ask them to get on that tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to congratulate both of you for what you've done. This is Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you, Josh. Well, Miles, do we have any other comments to make?
I have a question about the homelessness. I know that Debbie, you have been on the phone with the county and Miles. Is there a way that the city council members through their districts can help out with any of that?
Yeah, I started a homeless work group, and we met on December the 3rd, and we had I think 9 to 11 people on there. Mary Hewitt was on there, Brenda Douglas was on there, Sandy Chittum, Alan Hunt, Brooke Robertson, Dr. Redmond, Deb Close, myself, Marcia Minor, which is the president of the United Way, and then Jason Mitchell, which he is the CEO of Emmaus House, the shelter in Logansport. So the meeting was just to gather thoughts and decide, are we doing what we're enough for the homeless people in Miami County, financially providing all the financial assistance we can, or are we at the maximum capacity of not enough people to even run a shelter? So those were the main questions that we're asking. And then also we shared the resources that we already have. And so we discussed those issues. We also talked about people living in their car, those living under the bridge, those living along the river. And then also talked about, those people make their own choices. We can't change the choices that they make. We can offer them opportunities. We can try to provide them with the resources that we have. And if they choose not to take the opportunities and choices that we offer them, we can't instill our wishes upon them. So we know that several people have lived along the river here recently. And everyone in the community has rambled behind them and tried to get them to live somewhere else, and they chose to live where they did. And with that, we had to work with the DNR, we had to work with the health department, and they now have found a place living here in Peru.
And it wasn't because we wanted them to, they finally made their own choice. So with that, we finally decided to get a work group together. So we are breaking it up into several different categories, several different activity groups. One group is going to actually look at 2 different locations to see whether it's feasible to even start a shelter. The shelter will be, maybe part of it would be veterans on one side and a homeless on the other side. Whether we could even afford one, we're just kind of going to take a look and see if that's something we want to look into. So a couple people are actually going to look into that to see if these 2 locations would even be feasible. Another group is actually going to check with the churches and look at doing maybe warming stations. And these warming stations would be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And it would be different churches, maybe Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Tuesday and Thursday, and alternating months. And then Dr. Redmond would give us restrictions and guidelines on how to do it safely. Then, another group is going to be looking into grants and accessibility and whether it would be a satellite station, as in with the Emmaus House, and having him give us guidelines and bylaws on how to run one. We all know that everyone wears multiple hats, and whether we would even have a person that had the capability to even run a shelter. So those were a lot of the questions that was asked, and we were going to come back together in another month and bring all of our findings and decide which one of those avenues would be best to fit our community.
Debbie, thank you. I'm really interested and want to keep, informed. So I'll reach out to you, okay?
So if anybody would like to sit on that meeting, and if you want us to forward it to the whole council, we're willing. But we wanted to start small and break into groups, right, and come up with some solutions, and then bring it to the committee, and then bring the group a little larger.
When you're watching.
Yeah, Debbie, when you're ready to include more, will you please let me know?
Sure.
Because I understand, it needs to be kept small. I get that completely, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Deb.
Yep.
Okay, anything else?
I have one question. Next meeting, can we do the Zoom again?
Absolutely, we probably will be. We're finally starting to get the hang of it.
Thank you, Miles.
One thing I do want to tell everybody that's here tonight, I appreciate the fact that everyone Zoomed in, and I want everyone to have a very happy and safe holiday season coming up. And
Hey, Miles, can I say one thing?
Uh-huh.
I'd like to give an update on our kiosk that we put in.
Sure.
So since I talked to you last, we put in our kiosk down on the end of Canal Street on East Street, and it was a huge success. So I don't know if you guys can see this picture here, but anyway, there's Justin, and after 20 days, this thing was completely full. So it was just a blessing to put this in. Deb Close was the first person to put her sharps in there. She's a diabetic, and she brought something up to our attention that I didn't even think about. She's a diabetic, and her dog is a diabetic. So she said that within 2 weeks, she would have a whole milk carton completely full. So if you saw this milk cartons that are in here, these are probably diabetics that's been hoarding these sharps. And so it's just amazing that in 20 days, this whole sharp container is full. So thank you for the city of Peru for partnering with us to make this happen. So thank you very much.
Well, I've passed it around to other people because I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, thanks. Debbie, thank you so much.
We have our second one, and we're ready to place our second one here real soon. So thank you.
Please remember that out at on Logansport Road is the Solid Waste Commission, and they also take sharps.
Well, they actually are the one that are helping us with this. They're actually emptying and getting this and putting it. And we went to the county council today, commissioners today, and they approved 2. So we're putting 2 in the county today too.
Excellent.
This is sharp from the standpoint that it's closer for people.
It is.
That's super. Good, thanks, kiddo.
Thank you.
Mike?
Can everybody remember to think about Steve's dad? Mike's
Yep.
really, really sick.
Keep in your prayers.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm done.
Tom, I just wanted to touch on one thing real quick. As of right now, the current governor's executive order is set to expire December 31st. I'm assuming that's going to be extended, but in the unforeseen event it is not extended, we would have to go back to in-person meetings. Just, I don't foresee the governor not extending any type of order at this point, though.
Thank you, Dustin.
Yep.
I got a couple things. The dog park was open today for the first time. The river walkway, it's been extended, it's ready to go. And, also make sure you keep wearing your mask. That's the biggest thing.
Stay home
I got-
is the biggest thing.
Biggest thing, little thing.
Place to be is home, Tom. Good place to be, Tom, at home.
If you can't stay home, then wear a mask.
We're up for adjournment. We're up for adjournment, Tom.
I move we adjourn.
Say, I have one more question, Tom. No, I'm with you. On the resolution 13, is that the only one that we have to sign, Miles, correct?
Yes,
Because you and Susan signed the other ones.
yes. And I will be starting around in the morning picking them up,
Okay,
so.
sounds good. Sounds good.
All in favor for adjournment, say aye.
Aye, Captain.
Who seconded?
Anybody? Nay?
Did anybody
Okay.
second
Hey,
it?
Merry Christmas to everybody and Happy New Year too, Miles.
Hold, wait just a second. Did we have a second on the adjournment?
Did, hey, Tom,
Because Pete said, wait a minute,
Yes, sir.
I got a question.
you made the motion, but was there a second to adjourn?
No, it's not.
I didn't think so.
That was Mark.
Mark
Mark
second.
Ramsey seconds.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, Captain.
Opposed? Okay.